Hi guys, how are you? I'm Dre C. Hatchett with Financial Juneteenth University here. I have a longtime friend, entrepreneur of a luxury wine store, Mr. Shahir Brewster. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Andre. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. And it's apricots and honey,
Yep, apricots and honey, wine and spirits. That's
wine
correct.
and spirits in Mount Vernon, New York, right on the border. If you're really with Westchester, right on the border, like Pelham in Mount Vernon area. So, first of all, congratulations, man. Like, how do you feel?
Um, to be honest, nervous. I'm very excited, but I think right now it's so much anticipation as far as the build out of the store, ordering the wines, and then the next phase is once those doors are open, trying to please the customers and showing people what my dream is as far as having a wine store and giving them something that they can be proud of, that we all can be proud of. So that's the main thing that has me a little nervous right now. Yes.
Phenomenal. Everything you're doing is just phenomenal. So most of us drink, right? Some of us more than others, but most of us do have a drink. But most of us aren't even thinking about opening up a wine store. Like, how did this whole vision come to you?
Two main reasons. I guess we can, always say and use the terminology financial freedom.
Hmm.
But I have a 5-year-old daughter. Her name is Ava, and in that step in progress of becoming, a young man to a man and then to a father, I was working in the hotel industry through F&B. I started to gain a lot of knowledge through Marriott as far as wines and food. Pardon me, sorry, getting over a cold. So I took a lot of educational courses that were paid by this company.
Smart move.
I saw an opportunity for me to start my own. I was working about 60 to 70 hours in a hotel. I missed a year and a half of my daughter being born.
Wow.
First steps, teething. I would see it all secondhand and through clips, but I didn't really get to be there fully and to experience all those things as a father. So when the time came to it, and as I started to see the progression of wine, and that there could be a great, a great business in this, an opportunity, I said, do I want to live life, saying that all I did was work and I never tried? And there's nothing wrong. If you have to work and you find your ways, everyone has, their path. But I knew in my heart that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My grandfather was an architect. My uncle is an interior designer. And I knew I wanted to do it. So I said, I would not be able to talk to my daughter and tell her to go out into the world and to take such a leap and a risk without me trying myself. So it was my daughter, and then it was me saying, you know what? I got tired of working those 60, 70 hours, missing so much. I mean, granted, yes, I will have to work tons of hours in here, but at least in the morning, as today, I was able to drop my daughter off at school. I can have teacher conferences. I can go to her recitals, and I can leave once that the foundation of the store is in place, and have associates, managers. I know that I can say, hey, I can take 2 hours away to go and pick up my daughter, or have conferences, school, after school programs and stuff like that, and that was the main reason.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. So you were in the hotel industry. How long were you in the hotel
Um,
industry for?
About 10 years. So it was 10 years starting at, the front desk, then, operations manager, then getting a feel for F&B, which is food and beverage, and then, kind of, moving my way up. And then I said, you know what? I think I had enough. The company, that the hotel I was at was making anywhere between 19 and $27 million a year.
Wow.
And I'm making pennies. And when you look in comparison to working 60, 70 hours and then what that company was making as a hotel. So I said, you know what? Might as well just go out, venture off and try it myself.
Very commendable. How did it happen? So you're working at the hotel. Did you save all your money? Did you get a business loan, family and friends? How did you get the money?
Well, the first thing that I did as soon as I had my daughter, and I think everyone should know about this, I started a 529, which is a college saving fund. I know some people out there know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, it's something that you should look up.
Definitely.
You can write it off on a state level. So once I started that, I had my 401k, I had my IRA Roth account, and I had my IRA traditional,
Wow.
and I started saving. The step
Did you open up those accounts? Um, your daughter was born as well, or earlier on in life, the IRAs?
well, the 401, as soon as I started with Marriott,
Okay.
I probably was taking out about anywhere between 10 to 13%, before taxes.
Did they match it?
Yeah, they actually matched it. Marriott did a great job in matching it. They matched it up to $6. They did it dollar for dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was 75 cents or something like that. So, no, sorry. After 3%, after 6%, it was dollar for dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was 75
Mm-hmm.
70 cents.
And I bring that out here so our audience knows that 401ks, oftentimes when companies match them or contribute, it's like free money in a way.
Yeah,
So,
no, it definitely is.
if $5 a check, $10 a check, $20 a check, whatever you do, if you guys are doing on the five thing, I would seriously look into at least some of your money going into a Roth, a 401k IRA. If they give you money for it, put the money there, at least some of it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All right, so you have the money saved up in the retirement account, in retirement accounts, and the education fund for your daughter as well. Okay.
And then from there was creating a business plan. Once I knew that I wanted to bring this dream into reality, I had to create a business plan. I had a lot of friends even telling me, oh, you'll never get a loan because banks don't give out loans. Well, I'm here to say that, and is it very rare? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I am one of one. I went to Chase Manhattan Bank and was able to get a loan from Chase Manhattan Bank.
Wow.
Granted, my SBA business plan is 173 pages. There wasn't anything that I missed.
173 pages?
Yeah, so I had to actually, when I got to a certain point, I had to list each spirit and each wine that I was going to have in store. So that's what brought it to 173 pages. But just the
And you brought that to the bank with you for the loan. It was part of the loan application?
Yep, I brought that. So I had to have 5-year P&L, which is profit and loss. I had a 5-year cash flow and 5-year break even. Also describing the business, giving traffic data, so I knew exactly, and the reason why I look off to my right because I'm looking outside the store, I knew exactly how many cars came up and down the street each hour. So I did an average of 5 days. I sat out there with the clicker, so I know how many people walk up and down the street.
Wow.
I know how many cars pass up down the street. I know how many buses go up and down the street. I then did demographics for the area that's neighboring me. So that's Pelham, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon. I looked that up on the zip code. I found out exactly what, the spending power of my demographic was. Because it's a dream, but this dream is also a business. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, no matter what direction or what questions that the bank had to ask me, I had to answer it. There was no going back and forth and, creating time to, concoct something in the head. Everything was right there in front of them. And I went through actually 3 different relations managers, which are the loan managers, is what they call them for Chase. 3 of them over a 3-year period. I started this dream and made it physically like paper, the business plan. I have banking notes from 2013. It took me until October of 2015 to actually get the funds from the loan. So it was not by any means an easy process, and I will never lie to anyone and misguide them, but it is very possible if you go through the right venues and you actually are very, very descriptive and you are very detailed, because they will ask you so many questions, risk analysis, just so many different things that come up. I haven't looked at my business plan in since quite some time, so some of the stuff kind of fazed me, but there's a lot of information there, and I offer to you and anyone, if you ever need a business plan to look at, I'm always here. I want to be a tool for young Black people and for people all over to be able to come to me and sit down. I will always have time out in my day to say, hey, you know what? Let me show you what it really takes, because we don't have that many of our people who are starting businesses and going that direction. We usually get funded in other ways, but to go to Chase And to get an SBA loan, it's a lot. It's a lot, you know.
Deep stuff. Deep stuff. What does it cost to open up a wine store? If you give us some ballpark figures, maybe.
Well, I will be with the build out, which was about $200 and something thousand.
Whoa.
Rent, and this is another thing that the things that pop up in the equation. In order to open up a wine store, to go through the SLA, which is the State Liquor Authority, you actually have to be renting the premises before you even apply for your permit, for your license. Wow. So I've been renting since 2014, August of 2014.
You've been paying rent. Basically, hasn't been profitable yet, because you just opened up the other day, and you're not even fully open yet. You open up this weekend. Wow.
Yeah, I'm open up this weekend.
That's dedication.
Yeah, I mean, I do not have a 401k anymore. I don't have a IRA Roth account anymore. My daughter still has her funds for a